Okay, I'm Adriano Campolina. I'm Secretary General of ActionAid International. I've been working with ActionAid for almost 20 years. And in these past 20 years, I had the privilege to work in very different positions, from local campaigning in Brazil as I started, to Secretary General, as Head of Food Rights, as Director for the Americas, as Brazil Country Director. And I have learned so much in each one of those different jobs in ActionAid. I think what I have learned that is really deep reframed my thinking is this deep commitment to work with people living in poverty to build their own agency on producing change. So I have seen across more than 40 countries I have visited and over the years how ActionAid rootedness with communities and ability to respect the agency and the leadership of people living in poverty to lead their own struggles for social justice is probably one of the most courageous strategies that I have seen on international development organizations. The adoption of a human rights-based approach has been a fundamental transformation in the sector, and also organizationally our bravery as an organization to take on an internationalizational journey in which we have devolved power and we have democratized our organization deeply. So it's been great learnings, learning from young people in the organization, so many young activists, young programmers, young colleagues working in all different areas of the organization, really helping us to reshape, to be agile, and to adapt. So the ActionAid that entered in 20 years ago, and the ActionAid I'm leaving in a few weeks, a very different organization, which shows that it's a live organization that really allows itself to be shaped by the people we serve, as opposed to be a rigid organization that is only framed by people in power in the organization. So I love it in ActionAid. We have reshaped ourselves in accordance to the social struggles that the people we serve are involved in. And we have also made sure that these people would have direct opportunities to be part of our governance to really shape us according to the needs of the social struggles.
There's this common phrase that we have at ActionAid: once an action leader, always an action leader. What does it mean to you, and how might that translate to your future opportunities?
Yeah, everyone always say that, and I'm starting to feel it. So I heard it for the past 20 years. It's the first time I'm feeling it personally. I was about to leave the organization and start to work elsewhere. I think there are many components to that. And there is one that is the people, like ActionAid's teams, both staff, volunteers, board members, are extremely committed people and very brave people. And very creative people. And more importantly, are people that really lives the value of taking sides with the poor. So I think I will miss each one of my colleagues very profoundly. I have learned from so many people, such a privilege on those past 20 years. I have the opportunity to learn from people from many countries, people from many different departments, people from different experiences and activism, people from different organizational support areas. So I think one of the main things of always being an ActionAid is that I will carry the memory, I will carry with me the love, the support, and the learning of the colleagues I have worked with. Secondly is more in terms of the approach. I think having worked in an organization that had the courage to reshape itself in terms of power as well as in terms of approach to fighting poverty, the adoption of a rights-based approach and internationalization. I think that organizational collective courage of transform itself to be more meaningful to its mission is something that will also carry very close to my heart and to my thinking. And I will definitely bring ActionAid with me on my next assignment. I will be working for the United Nations for the Food and Agriculture Program in the UN, and I will definitely carry that courage of conviction of being able to transform itself to be more relevant. And I will also carry the closeness with people living in poverty and injustice. I think our programs, and I have so many local rights programs across the world, it does provide a very unique closeness to the communities that can ensure that the organization decisions are decisions that reflect the best interests of those communities. So I think that courage and that humbleness of being able to learn from people living in poverty is something that also reshaped a lot of my understanding on how to manage and to lead in this field, in this sector. And I will carry that as being part of always being an ActionAid. So I will keep my friends on my heart. I will keep actually thinking on my political understanding of the work, and I will keep our bravery and our collective courage of conviction as something that also warms my heart every day.
Having interacted with the programs being run in Kenya, what would you give as a general, maybe opinion of the kind of programming we run in Kenya?
Yeah, actually, Kenya is one of the main powerhouses of the thinking of ActionAid International. Historically, ActionAid Kenya was very important on the adoption and refinement of the human rights-based approach. ActionAid Kenya has also had a strong leadership on shaping our programs on women's rights. And more recently, a very strong role in terms of understanding accountability and local accountability. So ActionAid Kenya has shaped the organization in many ways, has shaped my own thinking in many ways, and thank you for that. And I believe that when I look at the program in Kenya, what strikes me is two things. One, the depth of the rootedness, so the relationship we have with communities is an in-depth trust relationship that we can really build on a partnership in a way that's meaningful to both sides of the partnership, that's respectful, mutually respectful and mutually accountable. In the other hand, the ability to do national policy work and influence. So the change that you have achieved, for instance, on women's rights at the policy making level is absolutely fascinating, as well as many other changes. So I think those two things strike me very strongly, and what I think can be the next step, given the ActionAid Kenya very strong history of shaping the thinking of the Federation, is to put more emphasis on the methodologies of connecting the local work with the national policy and advocacy work. We have did so well, and I think the whole Federation wants to learn from the methodology we have used. So I do encourage you to systematize them and to keep us learning from ActionAid Kenya as we always have done.